So it is Easter, and we just got back from church. And I'm lucky that my oldest daughter, my adopted daughter, is going to make dinner. So I don't have to do anything. So I'm going to sit and read. I just thought I'd show you some of the reading for the week. I'm going to try and blog a little bit of my reading life this first week of April. But right now it's March 31. Anyway, I'll just show you that in the morning, when I first get up, usually around 5:30, I read a very short meditation. This is the second year I've been going through this book. It's just wonderful. And then I read the Psalms and the Liturgy of the Hours. This is something that comes from, Word on Fire. And I just have the remaining prayers of March in here. And so tomorrow I'll open this up, take the shrink wrap off, and I'll read the prayers for tomorrow. So I pray lauds, and then during Lent I've been praying lauds and then trying to pray evening prayer and night prayer. Haven't always been successful, but I think I'm going to keep up lauds because that's my usual practice, and then maybe night prayer. It was a little hard to get all three of them in consistently every single day because sometimes things are going on that I just can't stop. So yeah, so that's my prayer the first thing in the morning. And then these are 3 books that I'm reading. I've been talking about them. This is Rubicon. This is for There's No Place Like Rome, the last year of the Roman Republic. And how far am I? I'm just this far, and I really have to work on it because I want to finish it this month. And then this is Intro to Christianity by Pope Benedict or Joseph Cardinal Ratzinger. And here he is. And this I read last year, right after Easter. We were going to read it for the 50 days of the Easter season. I was with a small group of people, and I did not finish it for 6 months. It just took me forever. So I vowed to myself that once I had broken through, because it's very deep theology, so it was very slow reading for me. But I decided that the following year, which is now, I would read it. I would try to read it in the 50 days of the Easter season. So I actually cheated, though. I started reading it this morning because it's Easter, but tomorrow, I guess, is when I really thought I would start. But anyway, I started it this morning, and I'm going to try to get it read again. I found it really profound, so I'm glad to revisit it, and I feel like reading it again so soon after I finished it, because I finished it, I guess, in December. I think it's going to be really beneficial. And then this is the book I'm going to read right now. I'm about to sit down and read in my cozy spot. This is my reading corner. And I'm going to read this, and I am absolutely loving this. It's amazing. It's really, really good. So, yeah. So that is my reading plans for right now. So it is Easter Monday morning, and I've been dipping into the Introduction to Christianity. And it's really, really wonderful. So I thought I would just read a long paragraph here. So he's talking about what belief means. And he's just said that, not every religion defines itself as being a belief. Like in the Jewish mind, it's about the law. And for the Romans, the religio meant performing the correct rites. And so, but because of the creed, the Apostles' Creed was something that was developed for people who are getting baptized, and it's a summary of what the basic teachings are, and it begins credo, I believe. And so belief has become synonymous with, say, religion, and he's playing with that. He's saying that maybe isn't so accurate. Anyway, so this is what he says. We now begin to discern a first vague outline of the attitude signified by the word credo. It means that man does not regard seeing, hearing, and touching as the totality of what concerns him, that he does not view the area of his world as marked off by what he can see and touch, but seeks a second mode of access to reality, a mode he calls, in fact, belief, and in such a way that he finds in it the decisive enlargement of his whole view of the world. If this is so, then the little word credo contains a basic option vis-a-vis reality as such. It signifies not the observation of this or that fact, but a fundamental mode of behavior toward being, toward existence, toward one's own sector of reality, and toward reality as a whole. It signifies the deliberate view that what cannot be seen, what can in no wise move into the field of vision, is not unreal. That, on the contrary, what cannot be seen, in fact, represents true reality, the element that supports and makes possible all the rest of reality. And it signifies the view that this element that makes reality as a whole possible is also what grants man a truly human existence. What makes him possible is a human being existing in a human way. In other words, belief signifies the decision that at the very core of human existence, there is a point that cannot be nourished and supported on the visible and tangible, that encounters and comes into contact with what cannot be seen and finds that it is a necessity for its own existence. Isn't that good? He's deep. This is a very, very good book. Here's the view outside my window. You see the pond down there. I don't know what you can see. There you go. There's my raised vegetable beds down there. You can see some of them. I managed to plant some lettuces and potatoes. So 3 types of potatoes. Did that Easter weekend. It is Easter Monday still and a very cloudy, rainy day. So I am going to read this and hopefully take a little nap. So it's about 1:45 right now. Those are my plans. Hello, so here I am in my new glasses, and I think they're working pretty well. I think it's a lot easier to read, especially this one I was really struggling with because the type is kind of small. So it's Monday evening. I just put away the chickens and, locked up their coop, and I'm doing laundry, and I'm going to sit up and read Rubicon for a little while before I go upstairs. And I'll probably read some more Nancy Drew, and then once I turn out the lights, I'll read from my Kindle. I'll read the Mandal Gate, which is a very interesting story so far. So, yeah, those are my reading plans for Monday. So, we painted this room. We painted it blue just last week. There, okay. The dog is eating. And so I am putting pictures back up and stuff. I'm going to put this one up. I'm rearranging pictures. I'm being very domestic. And I think I'm going to get rid of this thing. I can't even get this off. I think somebody wrote on it with the wrong kind of marker. Anyway, it just got junk, and we didn't use it well. I can put stuff like that, schedules, up on the fridge. So, yeah. So here are eggs. My chickens have started laying again. So that one's kind of dirty. But yeah, those are the eggs. And then these are my sweet potatoes that I'm starting. And I'm checking on them to make sure they're damp. Got to keep them damp. And then hopefully in about 6 weeks or so, they'll start to sprout. They're called sweet potato slips. And then after the last frost, sweet potatoes like it warm. They're definitely summer crops. I'm going to plant some sweet potatoes, hopefully. So today is a little bit unusual because, it's a lot unusual because I'm not watching my grandsons. They both had the stomach flu. And so I thought I was going to actually watch the 4-year-old who seems to have gotten over it. But anyway, it's complicated. I wound up not watching them. The 8-year-old is home on his spring break. So... but he's downstairs playing with a friend. So I'm going to sit up here in my room, and since I've got so interested in this particular thing, Cicero against Verres, and I'm including this as People April, and also There's No Place Like Rome. So that's what I'm about to read now, for a little bit at least. So this is a new addition to my living room. This is a ginormous aquarium. And the neat thing about it is it's new technology This is coral. So they figured out how to grow coral in tanks. So that's another type of coral. And then there's another one that hasn't opened up yet. I don't know if you can see that one. Yeah, I don't think you can. Anyway, so my poor husband has been having a lot of health issues, and he is ramping down from work. He's getting ready to retire. And so he remembered his old love of aquariums. We have a saltwater aquarium and a freshwater aquarium. And I hear people moving around. Anyway, so he got this ginormous thing, and it makes the living room actually smell like salt water, which I'm not sure I'm happy with. But anyway, but it is pretty darn cool. Hello. So it is Wednesday morning. It's been a weird week. It's Wednesday morning. I do have to watch at least one grandson today, but not till a little bit later today. Maybe both of them, I'm not sure. But anyway, the two brothers. But anyway, I thought I would have a little bit of time since I've had this unexpected free time to vlog a little bit. I thought I would do so. So, and if you look behind me, I don't have like that beigey pink paint on the dining room wall. It's new wallpaper. That's one of the things that we were doing to fix up the house. You know, I never cleaned that mirror though. I could see it has handprints on it. I gotta do that. I meant to do that. Anyway, at the end, I'm gonna show you a close-up of it so you can figure out the theme of the wallpaper. I just love it so much. But anyway, so I just finished reading yesterday, on Tuesday. I finished reading this. I'd started on Monday and I read about 2 pages at nap time before I dozed off. And then I read maybe 5 pages at night before I dozed off. So yesterday I read most of it. I finished it up yesterday because it was unexpectedly, I didn't have anything to do. And it's been very rainy and gloomy. In fact, today it's been raining Monday and yesterday, Tuesday. And today it's supposed to be the worst. And they have like flood watches and stuff. So it's quite gray and gloomy, 3rd day in a row. So it's a little bit depressing. But anyway, I finished The Clue in the Diary. It was a fun, fluffy read. You know, I think I'm getting a little tired of Nancy Drew. I hate to say it. The charm was there in the first few ones. But we're just reading up to 10. I think hopefully I'll make it to 10. But I think the charm is waning on me just because, you know, it's meant for a younger audience. So yeah, but I did read that yesterday. So that was, you know, April 2nd, I was able to knock a book off the checklist. And then for both People, April, and There's No Place Like Rome, I've started reading Cicero. I've heard about Cicero all my life. I don't think I've ever, maybe I had to read something by him in college, but I have no recollection of it. So I read the very first thing here. I read parts of the introduction here. And then I read, so this is part 1, Against Tyranny. And this is his opening argument against Verres. And it was really interesting. The court system was very different in Rome than it is here in the United States. Every action brought was a private action, even if it was a criminal thing. It wasn't the state prosecuting you, though I think it had to be somebody of the senatorial class who would be able to afford to get up and speak against you. So Cicero had been, you know, he was kind of a prodigy in his oratory skills and and so he had been making a name for himself as a defendant attorney. But then things got politically dangerous for him. And so he decided to leave Rome for a little while. And he went to Greece, and I don't know if he met Atticus. He's called Atticus, something, but his name is Atticus. There, or if he already knew him. But anyway, he became friends with this guy named Atticus, who had also fled Rome because it was getting too politically dangerous. But he decided to stay out of Rome and just enjoy a life of learning and kind of luxury, Anyway, he befriended Cicero, and while Cicero was staying with him, he also was mentored by a great rhetorician that was there. And so after a couple of years, he came back to Rome. Apparently beforehand, he had been ruining his voice because he would tend to shout. And so he learned how to control his voice better and all sorts of things. So he came back, and this was, I think, the first time he was a prosecutor instead of a defendant attorney. And he was bringing the prosecution himself against Verres. And it was a political move, but also I think everything with Cicero was wrapped up with his own advancement, plus his very high ideals about the Republic. So he's moving against Verres because Verres was the governor of Sicily, and apparently he just milked Sicily's treasury dry, all sorts of embezzlement and black market stuff and kind of he had friends in high places, and he had his thugs, and just very criminal. And so Cicero is arguing against him, and the worst thing is that he represents a fall from the idea of the rule of law, because Verres was so rich, he thought that he could just bribe anybody, and he could bribe the senators, the court there, and so he didn't have to follow the law because he had money. And so Cicero is saying, do we really want that? Is that what we want the Republic to be? We need the rule of law. And he wraps it all up in with his own, like he sort of asserts his own, that he's sort of the knight in shining armor that's going to come and rescue the Republic. That's a very effective speech. Apparently he got better. Like this is just the first one where he really made a name for himself. But it goes into the politics, and it's very interesting. I found it very interesting. The politics is very complicated. But yeah, I enjoyed reading against Verres. And so I think I'm going to move on. I'm just going to try and work my way through this month when I have the time. So the next one is Cicero's Life and Letters. So I read that. That was really interesting. I enjoyed that. Last night I started The Lost Flock by Jane Cooper. So interesting. I was just reading the introduction. She talks about how she got into this. She was not a farmer or anything at all. She did have a little garden, but she was a knitter, and she was on that, that big platform, Ravelry. And she learned about how different sheep have different types of wool. And so she started her own little group where they would focus on a sheep of the week, what kind of wool, the characteristics of the wool. This is like so niche, right? And that's how she got interested and that's how she heard about and then got interested in saving the original Orkney sheep called, I suddenly forgot what the name of the, a Boreray, Boreray. And they are very, very similar to the Neolithic sheep that first came to, Scotland and the northern climes. They originated in around the Caspian Sea, and then they went up through Russia over to Scandinavia, and then down into the islands of Scotland and then the highlands of Scotland. So it's all about how she got involved in rescuing these sheep. And I think it's going to be fascinating. So I'm enjoying this very much. This is kind of for Climathon, but it's also April as well. So, and then the book I'm reading for the Faded Pages book club is, let me see if I can get the title page here. Let me see. So it's by Muriel Sparks. She was a really well-known author. I don't know, when did she write? I think in the 50s and 60s, maybe 70s, but it's the Mandal Gate. It's really interesting. I read this a long time ago, and I can't remember a thing about it. I just remember that I really liked it and I wanted to reread it. And it's about this woman who's had this love affair with this guy who's an archaeologist. She met him in England. She's English, when he was like digging up Roman ruins. And now he's in Jordan. And so she's gone to Israel and she's touring all of Israel. But the dilemma is that she's Catholic and he is divorced. So he has to get an annulment before they can get married. And so she's waiting to go over into Jordan, but she's half Jew. So, and it talks about her childhood and her sense of identity and everything. She's also kind of, she was sort of resigned to be a spinster. She's 37 when she suddenly had this love affair. And so it was really interesting. I'm really enjoying it. So she wants to get over to Jordan to see him, and the annulment keeps getting delayed. He keeps asking her to come over, and she's got to go back to work. She works at a school, at a girls' school. So anyway, really finding this interesting. Now, how far am I? I thought I was further than I am. I'm only 14% in. So I gotta get moving on this. I've been reading it after I turn off the light, and I've just been going a little too long, so I'm a little sleepy, and I don't read very much of it at one time. So, I just messed up where I am. Anyway, so that's an update on a little bit of my vlogging. So let me do a close-up of this wallpaper, and you see if you can figure out the theme of the wallpaper. Okay, here we go. Do you know what it is?